West seems to have lost the belief that it is uniquely good in a way that is beneficial not only for itself but the rest of the world. It actually seems to regard many of its triumphs now as tragedies, and it feels a sense of indebtedness to everyone else, sort of, for its own existence. I think this is tremendously unhealthy stuff, ill-advised to say the least. But that is the impression which I get.
The West is a politically correct term. The West really means Christendom. So that's what we're talking about, is Christendom. The West is a Jew-friendly version of Christendom. So the health of Christendom obviously primarily depends on the health of Christianity. And so that's, I think, the decline of Christianity is the major problem that we're talking about here. And so you can attribute that to the rise of historicism and to the rise of critical analysis of the Christian scriptures, and rise of rationalism, the rise of secularism. But that's the thing that comes to mind right offhand. Number 2 point that comes to mind right offhand is that this low self-esteem in Western civilization, I think that is limited primarily to its elites. So average people don't have low self-esteem in Western civilization. So it's really among academics and some people in the media and some people in other spheres, perhaps law. But overall, I don't think there's a problem with low self-esteem with most people in the West. And then the third point is, I think we're seeing the product of dysgenic trends. So since 1850, people who are unproductive seem to be having more and more children, and people who are productive seem to be having fewer children. So to me, perhaps that's the number one issue, and everything else is a reflection of that issue. Pass.
And there you brought up a lot of interesting things there. The first, I think the foremost, is the dysgenic trend, which I absolutely agree with. It's interesting because today the most likely people to have kids are those who are the least likely to be able to afford them or take care of them, and that perpetuates the cycle of generational poverty. You know, in the United States, which obviously is not synonymous with Western civilization, but certainly part of it, there is the idea that people can just climb out of poverty, and it's rather common, but the reality is quite something else, and it's very rare actually for people to climb out of generational poverty, multi-generational poverty, really. And so when people have these kids that they can't afford and they pool from the lowest sector of society, it causes more problems for society on the whole. And this is not something which I think either side of the political spectrum, certainly not either major political party, wants to deal with for different reasons. And on the right, it does go back to religion, because the Republicans will think that they will injure their relationship with various religious constituencies by saying we should have, planned parenthood, birth control, even abortion. And meanwhile, for people on the left, they want the underclass to keep growing so they'll have more voters. To Christianity is interesting because even if people did return to Christianity en masse, it would mean that they would go to churches that are by and large vessels for social justice warfare at this point. They've been taken over by PC culture. I think it's safe to say that all the major denominations in the United States have reached that point. Even former holdouts of conservatism, like the Southern Baptist Convention, they now are very much on they're not necessarily social justice warriors, but some of their ranks definitely are, but they are PC without failure. And, now they've joined up with more long-standing leftist, activist-oriented religions like, the Mormon Church, the UCC, Roman Catholicism, when it comes to immigration specifically. And so the Southern Baptist Convention is, I think, catching up to where some other denominations have been for some time. So if everybody did go back to Christianity, or at least people who used to be Christians who lost the faith, I can't see that nowadays, considering what Christianity is in the developed world, I can't see that as being a benefit for it. It seems like Christendom will need some sort of post-Christian guide for it to succeed.
Well, Christianity strikes me as virtually infinitely flexible. That Christianity can be a force for, say, Europeans taking over the world and subduing the world, or Christianity can be a force for Europeans invading the world and inviting the world. That there seems to be an infinite flexibility with the type of politics that develops from Christianity